They called him a monster, but what if Dracula was once something far worse? A hero. Beneath the fangs and folklore lies the tragic tale of Vlad the Impaler, a man so feared in battle that even the grave could not hold him. How did a warrior's legend twist into a vampire's curse? The answer lies in a betrayal darker than any night. Vlad III was born in 1431 into a world where survival meant cruelty. Wallachia, his homeland, sat between two crushing forces, the Christian kingdom of Hungary and the expanding Ottoman Empire. His father, Vlad II, earned the name Dracula after joining the Order of the Dragon, a chivalric group sworn to defend Europe from the Ottomans. But titles meant little when politics shifted. By age 12, young Vlad became a hostage of the Ottoman Sultan, Murad II. Those years shaped him. He learned their tactics. He memorized their weaknesses. And when he finally returned to Wallachia in 1448, he saw a land crippled by infighting and Ottoman influence. His first rule lasted weeks. Rival nobles forced him into exile. But Vlad wasn't finished. In 1456, he seized the throne again, this time with a brutal agenda. He executed disloyal boyars by impalement. Slow public deaths meant to paralyze dissent. When Ottoman envoys refused to remove their turbans in his court, he nailed the headpieces to their skulls. The message was clear. Defiance meant suffering. His greatest test came in 1462. Sultan Mehmed II, conqueror of Constantinople, marched toward Wallachia with 90,000 men. Vlad had perhaps 30,000. He burned his own villages to starve the invaders. He poisoned wells. Then came the night attack. Vlad's forces wearing Ottoman uniforms, slipping into camps to slit throats. When Mehmed reached the capital, he found a forest of 20,000 impaled corpses stretching for miles. Even the Sultan, no stranger to violence, turned back. "I cannot take the land from a man who does such things," he reportedly said. But Vlad's tactics had a cost. His own brother Radu led the Ottoman counterattack, exploiting Wallachian exhaustion. The people, broken by years of war, accepted Radu as ruler. Vlad fled north, seeking Hungarian aid. In letters, he still signed himself Prince of Wallachia, but his reputation now worked against him. Hungarian King Matthias Corvinus arrested him, circulating false claims of atrocities to justify it. The warrior who terrified empires spent years in captivity, his legacy twisting with each retelling. By the time he returned to power in 1476, the rules had changed. His final battle ended with his beheading, his head sent to Constantinople as proof. Locals whispered the Ottomans dared not leave his body whole. They feared what might rise again. The details of Vlad's death remain uncertain. Some say assassins killed him. Others claim his men betrayed him. What is certain, his head was displayed in Constantinople, his body buried at Snagov Monastery. And then the rumors began. Peasants swore they saw a cloaked figure near his grave. Merchants found livestock drained of blood along old trade routes. Pamphlets from the 1480s described Vlad rising from the dead to impale nobles in their sleep. German woodcuts showed him feasting among corpses, his eyes glowing like fire. Ottoman chronicles whispered he had made a pact with dark forces during his captivity, a deal that gave him endurance beyond human limits. By the 1500s, villagers claimed his ghost wandered at night. By the 1600s, Saxon merchants avoided the region. They called the roads the Devil's Roads. In 1657, workers repairing Snagov Monastery opened his coffin. Inside were no bones, only a rusted crown and animal remains. The monk who recorded it wrote, "The earth smelled of fire, though no fire had touched it." From then on, Vlad was no longer a man. He was something that defied death itself. By 1704, German scholars used a new word for him. Vampire, history, and nightmare had fused into one. By 1890, Bram Stoker was searching for a villain worthy of his Gothic novel. The Irish author worked as a theater manager in London, surrounded by props and stage blood. He found Vlad's name in a footnote in a library book. William Wilkinson's account of the principalities of Wallachia and Moldavia. The word Dracula caught his eye. Stoker scribbled in his notes, "In Wallachian language means devil." That misunderstanding became fate. Stoker copied passages from Wilkinson's book word for word into his research papers. He circled details about Vlad's impalements, his nocturnal attacks, his habit of drinking blood from victims. But the novel took a darker turn when Stoker visited Whitby in northeastern England. There, he discovered records of a shipwrecked vessel carrying boxes of Transylvanian earth. Local legends spoke of the dead rising from such soil. The pieces clicked. His Count Dracula kept Vlad's strategic cruelty, but lost his military context. Stoker's vampire didn't impale enemies for defense. He did it for pleasure. The fictional Dracula moved with aristocratic grace, a far cry from Vlad's battlefield scars. Yet traces of history remained. The novel's climactic battle echoes Vlad's nighttime raids, with heroes storming the vampire's lair under cover of darkness. When the book flopped in 1897, stage adaptations saved it. Hamilton Dean's 1924 play gave Dracula the black cape and widow's peak we recognize today, but Universal's 1931 film with Bela Lugosi cemented the image. The studio's designers researched Balkan armor, then ignored it. They draped Lugosi in opera house elegance, making vampirism seductive rather than brutal. Everything changed in 1958. Hammer Film Productions' Horror of Dracula starred Christopher Lee, the first actor taller than most of his victims. Lee studied medieval combat to make his Dracula move like a warrior. His fangs gleamed red with fresh blood in Technicolor close-ups. The film stripped away Lugosi's theatricality, revealing something primal. Audiences saw Vlad's violence beneath the vampire glamour. Lee's Dracula didn't just bite necks, he ripped throats. When staked, he crumbled to dust screaming. This was no longer Stoker's creation entirely, it was Vlad's ghost resurrected. The film sparked decades of sequels, each leaning further into historical parallels. By the 1970s, Romanian tourism ads used Dracula's name beside images of Vlad's Poianari fortress. The irony is thick today. Vlad fought to keep foreign influences out of Wallachia, yet his namesake became global property. Stoker's novel now sells in the gift shops of castles Vlad once defended. The warrior who inspired this nightmare sleeps somewhere beneath that weight, if he sleeps at all. Vlad's real curse wasn't immortality. It was the erasure of his humanity. The man who once ruled Wallachia with brutal precision became a caricature, his history reduced to fangs and capes. Yet walk through the ruins of Poianari Castle, and you'll find no bats or velvet drapes, just crumbling stone where a king made impossible choices. History remembers monsters more clearly than men, but Vlad wasn't supernatural. He was ruthless, strategic, and painfully mortal. Next time you hear Dracula, picture the warrior, not the ghost. The truth is always stranger than the myth, and far more haunted by what we choose to forget.